Hello friend, welcome to back my channel. Old Coins History Today video is one you won't to miss. We're diving into the world of coins. Top 3 Franc. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. So let's get it started. 1961 Franc coin from France is more than just a small piece of metal. It is a mirror reflecting a critical transitional period in French monetary history, embodying a unique convergence of economic reform, national identity, artistic expression, and post-war resilience. Issued at the dawn of France's Fifth Republic under President Charles de Gaulle. This coin marked a major shift in the country's financial framework through the introduction of the nouveau franc, or new franc, as France emerged from the fiscal instability and hyperinflation of the post-World War II era. The French government initiated a comprehensive monetary reform in 1958 to 1962, stabilized the economy. One of the most pivotal changes of this reform was the introduction of the new franc valued at 100 times the old franc. Hence, the 1961 franc coin did not merely replace an older denomination. It symbolized the rebirth of French monetary credibility and national pride. Where previous coins bore the weight of war, inflation, and economic uncertainty, this one carried the promise of stability, strength, and a bright future rooted in enduring French values. This specific 1 franc coin was minted in pure Nicholas strong, corrosion-resistant metal, ideal for the rigors of everyday use. The coin weighs approximately 6 grams, with a diameter of 24 millimeters and a thickness of 1.7 millimeters, making it sturdy in hand, yet conveniently sized for pocket use. The edge of the coin is smooth, free of any reading or inscriptions, typical of many smaller denomination coins in France during that era. Its resilience and brightness made it a reliable medium of exchange, widely circulated among the French public during the 1960s. Though utilitarian in function, the coin's design elevated it to the level of artistry and cultural representation. The French mint, known as la monnaie de Paris, struck these coins in large numbers, ensuring their widespread availability and usage throughout France and French overseas territories. The obverse side of the 1961 franc coin features the timeless, allegorical figure, la Semeuse, the Sower. This iconic image, originally designed by Oscar Roty in the late 19th century, had become one of the most cherished representations of the French Republic. It portrays a young woman striding forward through a plowed field, casting seeds into the earth with her right hand while her left arm swings gracefully. She is dressed in classical attire, with rays of the sun rising behind her, symbolizing enlightenment, agriculture, labor, renewal, and national vigor. The image is dynamic and full of life, echoing the energetic spirit of the Republic. The inscription Republic Francaise arcs gracefully along the rim, reaffirming the sovereign identity of the state. The image resonates not just with rural tradition, but also with the philosophical ideals of the Enlightenment and the values of the French Revolution: liberty, fraternity, and equality. On the reverse side, the design is equally symbolic, though more geometric and contained. Centered boldly are the numerals 1 franc, indicating the coin's denomination, with the date 1960 engraved just beneath. Encircling the denomination is a beautifully stylized wreath formed of olive and oak branches, symbols of peace and strength, respectively. The olive branch has long been a universal symbol of harmony and reconciliation, while the oak branch represents endurance, wisdom, and power, key attributes France sought to embody in its post-war reconstruction. This emblematic pairing subtly communicates a national message. France, rooted in strength, seeks peace both at home and abroad. The design as a whole evokes simplicity, elegance, and gravitas, 3 characteristics often associated with classical French aesthetics. Coin was not only an economic necessity, but also a carefully crafted act of political symbolism. By reintroducing a stabilized and revalued currency, France reasserted its autonomy and resilience in a rapidly shifting global economy. The coin was introduced during a time of decolonization, when France was withdrawing from former colonies in Africa and Asia, notably Algeria. Amid these geopolitical shifts, the reformed currency provided a symbol of internal order and unity. For ordinary citizens, it was a practical part of everyday life, used to buy bread, newspapers, metro tickets, and more. For economists and Historians, it stood as a testament to a nation's ability to reinvent itself in the face of adversity. Numismatically, the 1961 franc is a collectible item today, especially in uncirculated or proof conditions. While it was not made of precious metals like silver or gold, its historical value and iconic design make it a sought-after piece among collectors. Variants minted in the same year may display slight differences due to mint location or die wear, and coins bearing strong strikes and minimal wear are particularly prized. While not rare in the absolute sense, the 1960 issue marks the first year of mass circulation of the new franc, giving it unique significance in the timeline of modern French currency. In many ways, it bridged the gap between the troubled economic past and the hopeful, more stable decades that followed. In cultural terms, the 1 franc coin also holds sentimental value. For generations of French citizens, it was their first experience of money, perhaps received as a child's allowance, spent on sweets, or saved up for a treat. It is remembered fondly as a symbol of personal history, embedded in stories, memories, and the quiet rhythms of daily life in 20th century France. Over time, as France transitioned to the euro in 2002, the franc coins including this 1960 piece were demonetized, but they remained deeply rooted in the collective memory. Even today, the image of La Semeuse continues to inspire, having appeared on stamps, logos, and even modern euro coins, echoing her enduring place in the soul of the nation. In conclusion, the 1961 franc coin is a remarkable artifact tokenomically, historically, and artistically. It tells the story of a nation's revival, the discipline of monetary reform, and the elegance of French craftsmanship. Its nickel surface may be unadorned with luxury, but its symbolism is rich. It represents a pivotal moment when France looked inward for renewal and outward for stability. The coin's value transcends its denomination. It is a marker of transition, a relic of national aspiration, and a work of miniature art. Whether held in hand, stored in a collector's album, or displayed in a museum, the 1961 franc coin reminds us of how even the smallest objects can carry the weight of history. Next coin. The 1977 1 franc coin of France is more than just a circulatory monetary unit. It is a shining testament to the endurance of national identity, economic pragmatism, and symbolic continuity during a transformative period in modern French history. Minted during the Fifth Republic under President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, this coin represents both the culmination of a long-standing monetary tradition and a subtle transition into a changing economic and political climate. Introduced as part of the post-World War II monetary reforms, the 1 franc coin had, by 1977, become deeply entrenched in the everyday lives of French citizens, embodying both functionality and familiar symbolism. Although France was still using the franc as its national currency at the time, global shifts in trade, inflation, and the early inklings of a united Europe were beginning to reshape the financial landscape. Against this backdrop, the 1977 1 franc coin continued to carry with it the strong national iconography that France had consistently upheld through its coinagia, proud blend of allegory, tradition, and artistic finesse that served not only as a means of exchange, but as a cultural artifact, struck in nickel, a metal known for its strength, resistance to corrosion, and silvery shine. The 1977 1 franc coin weighed approximately 6 grams and measured 24 millimeters in diameter, with a modest thickness of around 1.7 millimeters. Its smooth edge, devoid of reading or inscriptions, was consistent with the design style of other small-denomination coins of the period. The coin's material and size were selected for durability and mass production, ensuring that millions could be distributed efficiently across France's expansive economic infrastructure. Despite its utilitarian function, the coin retained a profound aesthetic grace, reflecting the Republic's dedication to preserving classical art and symbolism, even in mundane daily items. By 1977, the French franc had already been decoupled from the Bretton Woods system and floated independently, introducing new economic uncertainties. Yet the 1 franc coin remained a tangible symbol of national confidence and continuity. Obverse of the 1977 1 franc coin is dominated by the iconic figure La Semeuse, or the Sower, an enduring symbol of France's Republican values. Designed by Oscar Roty in the late 19th century, and revived repeatedly for its timeless appeal. La Semeuse is depicted as a graceful woman in classical drapery, striding purposefully forward while sowing seeds across a freshly plowed field. Her hair and gown flow with the wind, and rays of sunlight rise behind her, evoking themes of renewal, growth, and enlightenment. This image not only emphasizes France's deep-rooted agrarian heritage, but also aligns with the nation's Enlightenment ideals, particularly the propagation of knowledge, civic responsibility, and liberty. Surrounding the Sower is the national inscription République Française, reaffirming the sovereign authority and democratic values of the French state. This portrayal is not simply decorative, it is profoundly philosophical, representing a hopeful future nurtured through the steady labor of the citizenry, a core tenet of the Republican ethos. Turning to the reverse, the coin features a clean, balanced composition centered around the denomination 1 franc with the mint, year 1977, inscribed below. Encircling the central text is a beautifully stylized wreath composed of olive and oak branches, traditional emblems of peace and strength, respectively. The olive branch, long a symbol of reconciliation and harmony, echoes France's post-war aspirations for stability within its borders and beyond. The oak branch, on the other hand, represents resilience, wisdom, and enduring strength, ideal attributes for a nation navigating the complexities of global economics, Cold War politics, and the stirrings of European unity. Though minimal in visual complexity, the reverse of the coin speaks volumes through its symbolism, revealing a nuanced portrait of a country that, while rooted in classical tradition, was looking steadily toward modernity in terms of production and circulation. The 1977 1 franc coin was minted in large quantities by La Monnaie de Paris, the official French mint. These coins were used extensively across the nation, from the bustling boulevards of Paris to the quiet provincial towns of Normandy and Provence. For many French citizens, this coin was part of daily life, used for buying a baguette, paying for a metro ride, or getting a newspaper. Its widespread use imbued it with a certain nostalgic quality over the years, making it not only a practical tool of commerce, but a silent witness to countless everyday transactions and moments in modern French society. The 1977 edition had no special commemorative markings, yet its presence during a period of social and economic change, such as rising inflation, the oil crisis aftermath, and debates about European economic integration, renders it historically significant from a numismatic perspective. The 1977 1 franc coin is relatively common, but this does not detract from its collectible appeal. For many collectors, it represents the final decades of the classic French franc before the eventual adoption of the euro in 2002. Its elegant design, historical context, and symbolic consistency make it an essential piece in any collection of 20th century French coinage. Well-preserved specimens, especially those in mint or uncirculated condition, are sought after for their clarity of design, particularly the fine details in La Semeuse's drapery and the intricate foliage on the reverse. Though the coin contains no precious metals, its cultural and historic value far outweighs its material worth, especially for those who appreciate the narrative power embedded in everyday objects. Culturally, the 1977 1 franc coin is a time capsule. It represents a France that was striving to uphold its republican ideals while adapting to modern economic realities. It holds echoes of an older France rooted in agriculture, intellectualism, and republican virtue, but also anticipates the digital, globalized, and European integrated world that lay ahead. Children who received it as pocket money, shopkeepers who counted dozens at the end of the day, and tourists who brought them home as souvenirs, all shared in a silent collective relationship with this unassuming piece of metal. Even after the franc was phased out, these coins lingered in drawers, jars, and memory boxes, cherished not for their face value, but for the stories they silently carried. In conclusion, the 1977 French 1 franc coin may seem like an ordinary relic of the past, but in truth, it represents a microcosm of France's post-war journey, a country balancing its identity, values, and economy amidst the evolving currents of the 20th century. From the glowing figure of La Semeuse casting seeds of growth and enlightenment to the laurels of peace and strength on the reverse, the coin encapsulates France's aspirations, history, and spirit. As a piece of numismatic art, it is clean, elegant, and meaningful. As a tool of everyday life, it is functional and widely embraced. And as a historical document, it continues to offer insight into the complex interplay between currency, identity, and the passage of time. Franc coin, though no longer in use, endures as a powerful emblem of an era simple in form, but profound in legacy. Next, coin. The 1975 Franc coin of France is a deeply symbolic artifact of 20th century European monetary history, encapsulating in its small metallic form the values, aesthetics, and socio-economic circumstances of France during the post-war decades. Struck during the presidency of Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, the 1975 edition of the French one. Franc coin was part of a series of coins that had been in circulation since the late 1950s following the introduction of the nouveau franc new franc. By the time this coin was minted, France was 2 decades into its adoption of the new franc, a currency reform initiated in 1960 that revalued the French currency at a rate of 1 new franc equals 100 old francs. This monetary reformation was a cornerstone of France's attempt to combat post-war inflation and restore credibility to its national economy. The 1 franc coin, especially in its 1975 iteration, stood as a beacon of national pride, economic progress, and the enduring resilience of the French people in the wake of war, Reconstruction, and the rapidly changing geopolitical landscape of the 1970s, minted by the money. De Paris, Paris Mint. The official institution responsible for France's coinage since 864 AD, the 1975 franc coin was made from pure nickel, which gave it a silver-white shine, robustness against corrosion, and a strong tactile presence. With a diameter of 24 millimeters, a thickness of approximately 1.7 millimeters, and a weight of 6 grams. The coin was compact and practical, optimized for the rigors of everyday use. Its smooth, plain edge was typical of small French denominations and provided an understated simplicity, allowing the artistry of its faces to take center stage. These physical attributes contributed to the coin's durability and wide circulation. Though modest in intrinsic value, the coin bore a far greater symbolic and national significance. In an era when inflation concerns loomed over much of the Western world due to the 1973 oil crisis and global economic volatility, the French franc coin offered a stable and reliable medium of exchange and embodied a symbol of continuity and national identity. On the obverse side of the 1975 franc coin is the timeless image of Semeuse the Sower, a classical female figure rendered in graceful motion, scattering seeds across a plowed field as rays of sunlight rise. Behind her, this allegorical depiction was designed by the renowned French artist Oscar Roty at the close of the 19th century, originally appearing on silver coins and later revived for modern use due to its iconic stature and enduring relevance. La Semeuse is dressed in traditional Greco-Roman garb, with flowing garments that ripple as she strides confidently forward, embodying motion, progress, fertility, and republican virtue. Her dynamic posture symbolizes forward momentum, while the act of sowing seeds represents cultivation, hope, and investment in the future. The rising sun evokes enlightenment, rebirth, and a new dawn, apt metaphors for France's aspirations during the turbulent yet transformative 1970s. Circling the Sower is the national inscription, République Française, denoting the sovereignty and unity of the French Republic. This side of the coin, minimalist in its composition yet profound in its imagery, is a masterful blend of aesthetic refinement and ideological depth. The reverse side of the 1975 franc coin is no less elegant. At the center sits the bold inscription, 1 franc, signifying its denomination, with the mint year 1975 neatly engraved below. Surrounding the central text is a beautifully balanced laurel of olive and oak branches, two of the most powerful botanical emblems in Western symbology. The olive branch, universally associated with peace, echoes France's post-war diplomatic efforts and its role within the broader framework of European integration and reconciliation. The oak branch, a symbol of strength, wisdom, and endurance, speaks to the Republic's resilience and national fortitude. These natural elements curve harmoniously around the denomination, creating a symmetrical and dignified image. This layout reflects a sense of order, restraint, and classical balance qualities that align with France's cultural legacy and its pursuit of refined statecraft. The coin's release in 1975 situates it in a dynamic historical moment. Domestically, France was dealing with shifting demographics, modernization of industry, and evolving social attitudes following the radical changes of the 1968 protests. President Valéry Giscard d'Estaing was pursuing liberal economic policies, aimed at rejuvenating the French economy while simultaneously guiding the nation through the early stages of European integration. France was an active member of the European Economic Community, EEC, the precursor to the European Union, and, while the euro would not arrive for decades, the seeds of shared monetary cooperation were already being sown. The 1 franc coin, thus, continued to serve not only as legal tender, but as a unifying emblem accepted in rural markets, urban cafes, subway turnstiles, and vending machines alike transcending class and geography within the country. In terms of production and usage, the 1975 1 franc coin was minted in vast quantities, ensuring its presence in nearly every French wallet and purse. Despite its ubiquity, it was a carefully crafted item, with attention to detail in both strike and finish. Coins in uncirculated or near-mint condition are especially prized by numismatists, not because of their rarity, but because they preserve the full fidelity of the original engraving from the strands of Semeuse's hair to the veins in the olive leaves. Unlike special commemorative issues, the 1975 coin was part of the standard monetary system, making it a true piece of everyday history, a coin that passed through countless hands, each with its own story, context, and memory. Over time, as the euro approached and eventually replaced the franc in 2002, the 1975 1 franc coin, along with all other denominations of the French franc, was demonetized. However, it continues to live on in collections, museums, and the memories of generations who used it. Its symbolic content, the Sower, the olive, the oak, remains deeply embedded in the national consciousness. Even today, the image of La Semeuse is used on French postage stamps and bullion, testifying to the enduring resonance of her message that through steady labor, commitment to the land, and a vision of the future, a republic can thrive. For collectors and historians alike, the coin provides insight into an era of French life marked by cautious optimism, modern aspirations, and enduring cultural heritage. In conclusion, the 1975 French 1 franc coin is a modest yet profound testament to an era. It bridges the divide between the classical and the contemporary, the aesthetic and the economic, the utilitarian and the symbolic. It speaks of France not merely as a nation of consumers and taxpayers, but as a republic of thinkers, farmers, laborers, and visionaries, each contributing to a shared future. Held in hand, it feels cool and simple. Held in context, it carries the weight of history. In every respect, the 1975 1 franc coin endures as a shining example of how even the smallest coin can reflect the largest ideals.